The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Today is Tuesday, September 1st, 2020. Thanks so much for joining me. I want to begin with the reason why Donald Trump is dog whistling law and order to suburban white women. There's a clip from Laura Ingraham last night where he went full. I mean, listen, let's call it what it is. It's full on racist. He's trying to scare white suburban women. As you listen to this clip, you realize that he's trying to avoid saying white women, but it's clearly the subtext of what he's saying, trying to scare them into fearing the idea of low-income housing in their neighborhoods, turning their neighborhoods into ghettos. Well, he didn't say ghettos, but he may as well have said it. It's almost as if no one expects us to read between the lines. But here's the clip. I want to play the clip, and then I want to play a response. There's a response from CNN where six Donald Trump supporters, 3 of them no longer support him, really went back and forth and argued over Donald Trump's racism. And then obviously there's some polling to show you this is exactly why he's geared his entire message into scaring suburban white moms. Take a listen in.
But are the suburbs in danger? Because they say that's fear-mongering on the part of
I know the
Republicans.
suburbs. Look, Westchester was ground zero, okay, for what they were trying to do. They were trying to destroy the suburban, beautiful place, the American dream, really. They want low-income housing, and with that comes a lot of other problems, including crime. May not be nice to say,
You're not saying all
but
poor people
say
are criminals, though.
No, I'm not saying that at all, but it does. There is a level of violence that you don't see. So you have this beautiful community in the suburbs, including women, right? Women, they want security. I ended where they build low-income housing project right in the middle of your neighborhood. I ended it. If Biden gets in, he already said it's going to go at a much higher rate than ever before. And you know who's going to be in charge of it? Cory Booker. That's going to be nice, okay? So I think that women are going to want, well, for a lot of other reasons, the stock markets will crash. As sure as you're sitting there, your 401ks will go down to a small.
He's trying to make people afraid, saying anything he can about the stock markets at the very end there, trying to make people afraid of him losing, when the fact of the matter is the stock markets did crash. And the only reason that they are stable now is because the Fed is artificially sustaining it. The stock market crashed underneath Donald Trump, but that's neither here nor there. What we see is a concerted effort by Donald Trump to try to win back the white suburban mom vote. Before I play this next clip, I do have to just kind of dissect this a little bit. He almost inadvertently admitted that there is a correlation between poverty and crime. He couldn't go there, right? He could not say that because in America, we look at crime as something that is inherent, is a moral failing, right? We don't look at it as a systemic failing. Right. The fact of the matter is the more resources you have, the less likely you are going to participate in crimes of desperation, crimes of survival. Right. Or crimes, even crimes of opportunity. A lot of people feel like crime is their only way out of their impoverished situation. So there's no question there is a correlation between poverty and crime, but America would never concede to that. And Donald Trump had his wits, his rather malevolent wits about him enough to never make that conclusion, because that would flip America on its head. I don't know many politicians who will actually make that conclusion, even though there are scientific studies that show, there's sociological studies that show that crime is an economic phenomenon, particularly the lack of economic power. So he wouldn't say that. But what he is trying to do instead is saying, hey, listen, those scary poor people, those scary black people are going to move into I stopped them. I stopped those scary black people who are poor from moving into your suburban neighborhoods, into your cul-de-sacs, and ruining your American dream. I stopped that. And that's what he believes is going to be his pathway back into the White House. Well, that's not working. And because people have seen very clearly who Donald Trump is. Now, mind you, I don't know why they didn't see it in the first place. I'm going to play a clip here of, and it's a little lengthy, but I just want you to hear some of the differing voices of suburban white moms, 6 of them. All of them voted for Donald Trump in 2016, and 3 of them are now saying they can no longer support Donald Trump. And you will see, not only based on this, but based on some of the data I'm going to give you afterwards, this is why Donald Trump is going full racist. Here's why it matters. It matters because if he can make this, if he can fearmonger his way into the hearts of these white women, then, I mean, honestly, this election is going to come down to white women. That's why it matters. Whether or not Donald Trump is going to be, a lot of people are trying to put the onus on black. There's not enough black Americans in this country to actually turn and save America from itself. Basically, not if 50% of white people support Donald Trump. It's just not, there's not enough black people to actually change this, to stop him from winning. We can help them win on the margins. Honestly, Democrats need all the black people in America to come out, 60% of us to come out, 90% of us to vote for vote for the Democratic candidate in order to stop Donald Trump. Whereas if white folks, if you start helping your cousins and them come to the light of the fascism of Donald Trump, or away from the darkness of the fascism of Donald Trump, then you wouldn't be so dependent on black people saving America. But anyway, I digress. Here are several voices of former Trump supporters who now half of them do no longer support him.
I have no explanation for it. Being shot in the back, to me, is one of the worst things, because that means that you're retreating. And to shoot 7 times in the back, I don't understand it. I don't understand. And then he was shackled to his bed, his hospital bed, and his children were in his car. There's no explanation for it other than, if he were white, that would not have happened.
Ahmaud Arbery was shot in the street in South Georgia. Are you going to sit there and tell me that that's not a racial thing? He was hunted down and shot like an animal. And it's okay.
Is that the case you're
speaking? And it's okay by Trump supporters. And I'm done with that.
No, ma'am, not at all. And you're going out to other cases. We're talking about the case at hand.
But no president has ruined this country like he has. The unrest and the riots in the streets we haven't seen since the 1960s. He took this job and he's not taking it seriously. He watches TV, he is on Twitter, and he goes and he golfs.
He retweeted White Lives Matter, and he retweeted Black Lives Matter is the symbol of hate.
Do you think that the fact that he's retweeting support for the 17-year-old who's been charged with double homicide, the fact that he's retweeting support at times for white supremacists, do you think that helps the unrest?
I think it's gotten worse.
Okay, that was, forgive the length of it, but I needed to make sure that you could hear it in context and you could hear the different voices. These are former Trump supporters. These are people, women, white suburban women who Donald Trump is doing his best to appeal to right now, making it clear that they've had enough of Donald Trump. Now, before I go too far on it, I have to just talk about the obvious. I don't know why they didn't see the fact that this man was a racist 4 years ago. Like, clearly, Donald Trump presented himself to be a racist, and I guess maybe there is a threshold. Maybe now they see that he's too racist for them, right? Maybe the initial racism was like, okay, oh, he's just being stupid or whatever, and he's not really going to govern that way. I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt, because for the rest of us, we saw Donald Trump for who he was the entire time. But now, suburban white moms and white women in general are breaking with Donald Trump. A recent ABC News Washington Post poll found that Trump is trailing Biden by 16 points amongst registered women voters. Broken down, Biden crushed the president among urban women, 69 to 27%, but held a much narrower advantage among suburban women, 54 to 41%. Still, Donald Trump is behind. He's losing this group, the 54% of white women that voted for him. But, again, I want to stress, though, there's a lot of pressure that's put on black communities to save this country. There's already conversations going on about, black men. Black men are going to be no. Black men are not going to be the defining feature of this election. Not based on the electorate that they so chose to gather, not the coalition that Obama and them put together, right? It's going to take white people, and it's going to take white women specifically. And it's going to take you all stepping up and voting in larger numbers and higher percentages than you did before, because quite frankly, you all are losing some of the black vote. Donald Trump is actually picking up some of the black vote because of that's an entirely different segment. I can go into that for days, but it does include the fact that neither party has done anything significant for the black community in the last 40, 50 years, right? And because a lot of these people besides those who are on his payroll, right? There's a lot of black folks that are on Donald Trump's payroll. But besides that group, there's another group that just kind of likes the fact that he's just kind of destroying this entire system. So that said, if you know that's happening and the polling is bearing that out, white folks, if you really want to get rid of Donald Trump, you better talk to your cousins and them, talk to your sisters and them, talk to your aunties and all them, get them right. And tear down that 54% and bring it down underneath the margin that will help get rid of Donald Trump, instead of sitting back and waiting on the black community to save you yet again. All right. Like I've said so many times, and I'm going to say it again, if there was just a single reason why getting rid of Donald Trump is the most critical thing that we can do, I don't care if we replace him with Rip Van Winkle, right? Tomorrow it'll be another fairy tale character. Yesterday it was Rumpelstiltskin. I don't care who we replace him with. If there was ever a reason to get rid of him, it is because of his handling of COVID-19, without question, has led to at least 150,000 more deaths than were necessary. I'm not going to sit here and say that every death could have been avoided. No. Epidemics happen, pandemics happen. But the fact that we're approaching 200,000 deaths in this country, when so many other countries are faring much better than ours. And it's a direct result of the politicization of COVID-19, the politicization of wearing a mask, something simple as wearing. We can't even get people to wear a mask. I mean, they literally are going into Walmarts and having meltdowns because they're being told they either have to wear a mask or they have to leave. And that's because of the politicization of it. And that stems directly from Donald Trump. The lack of a cohesive federal-wide response, right? There's so many things. But on top of that, it is the blatant idiocy combined with the politicization of Donald Trump that is making this worse. What am I talking about? Donald Trump is trying to push the SEC and the Big Ten, college football, to open back up. Now, we've seen, I'm going to play a clip for you. We have seen so many colleges have to shut down already, or have to suspend classes, or suspend their practices, and all because COVID-19 is spreading so quickly. I think it was the University of Alabama had like 500 cases in the first week. In the first week of school. And here we are today, the president of the United States, looking at all that information. And this is the idiocy, looking at all that information, doesn't care. Here's the politicization of it. It's because he understands that if people in the South realize that football's not coming back, then he realized that that's a political liability for him when it comes to election time. And so what he's trying to do is make it the fault of the Democratic Party that there is no football, not the fact that there is a full-blown pandemic that has been exacerbated by his feckless stupidity. Take a listen to this clip.
Kevin Warren, and I think it was very productive about getting Big Ten playing again and immediately. And let's see what happens. He's a great guy. It's a great conference, tremendous teams, and we're pushing very hard. I think the biggest headwind we have is that you have Democrats that don't want to see it happen, but I think they want to play, and the fans want to see it, and the players have a lot at stake, including possibly playing in the NFL. You have a lot of great players in that conference. So we had a very good conversation, very productive, and maybe we'll be very nicely surprised. They had it closed up, and I think they'd like to see it open, along with a lot of other football that's being played right now. So thank you very much, and thank you to Kevin.
So the thing about this is, it's not only is it the recklessness and the ignorance of Donald Trump, it is the stupidity of his supporters who would be willing to actually go to these games, and not only go to these games, but go to these games without masks, and then spread COVID-19 even more. We still are in the range of averaging about 1,000 people dying a day. And it seems like that can't be real. But again, we talked about it over the summer. It is the desensitized. We have been desensitized. Let me just use the simplest form of that word. We have been desensitized. And so, I mean, we've had one day, what was it, 2,000? I forgot what the max was. I mean, we had one day where almost 1,000 people died in Florida alone. It's just, the numbers are staggering. The numbers are staggering. And yet these people are willing to go out, and not only go out in the pandemic into a crowded arena, but if you wear a mask, it is a symbol of being a sheep to them, or being like, we're the ones who are ignorant and we are the ones who are propagandized. So it's the combination of Donald Trump's idiocy, but also the idiocy of his supporters that will get even more people killed. And the problem is that I hate to say it like this. I really hate to say it, but not enough people have died for conservatives to actually care. Not enough people close to them have died for them to actually get the picture. And Donald Trump understands that there's like no limit to how far he can push this issue. There's no limit to how far he can exacerbate the situation. Because so long as the majority of conservatives don't lose a loved one or an immediate loved one, like if they lose a cousin or something, then yeah, whatever. But so long as they're not like losing their mother and their father or their son or their daughter or their spouse, so long as that's not happening, Donald Trump knows that he can continue to push this idiocy amongst his supporters, and his supporters will follow him all the way to the grave. Hell, Herman Cain, dead. Like, dead. Like, that's it. He ain't coming back. All because he wanted to follow the idiocy and the politics of Donald Trump. It was more important to these people to show up to the Tulsa rally than it was to protect their own lives. And Donald Trump, this is a cult. Like, this is not even a funny ha-ha kiki kind of cult. This is a death cult. This is a cult where not only are they willing to die themselves, forgive me, let me set that up so it has a little more impact, and let me finesse that. This is a death cult. And it's not only a death cult to the extent that they're willing to see you die, it is a death cult to the extent that they are themselves willing to die, all on behalf of their master, of their savior, of their Lord, Donald Trump. They are being faithful even unto death, just so that they can continue supporting Donald J. Trump. And Donald Trump knows this, and he takes full advantage of it every single day.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
let's keep this moving. Business Insider is reporting that the Trump campaign has knowingly taken thousands of dollars from a neo-Nazi leader and other racists. This is by Kelly McLaughlin, and it says Maury Gullett, a neo-Nazi leader who created an outpost of the Aryan nations in Louisiana, has donated at least $2,000 to President Donald Trump's re-election campaign, according to data collected by Popular Information. He has donated at least 29 times since 2017, and the Trump campaign was reportedly made aware of the donations by The Forward, which is a website. Popular Information detailed donations from several others, including Pete Ziv, a businessman who was sued by Washington State over accusations that he discriminated against non-white employees. The irony about this, and I don't know if it's an irony, it's clearly the point. The point is that Donald Trump didn't need these funds. We're talking about maybe $10,000 worth of donations over the period of time, but he took it anyway. Here was an opportunity for Donald Trump to reject, for him to make a clear stand and say, I reject these dollars. I reject these white supremacist organizations. I reject these racist organizations. But he doesn't do it. You know why? Because he understands who his base is. He is clear about it. He is making league with the racists and with the Nazis. This is why he can never bring himself to condemn any of them. He could not bring himself to condemn them in Charlottesville. He said they're very fine people on both sides. One side were people who were protesting against racism. The other side were fascists, literal Nazis, shouting Nazi slogans like Jews would not replace us. Right? That's how clear they were Nazis. There was no ambiguity about whether or not these were racist and fascists. Right? So he made league with them then, and he is staying in league with them now. He did not need their money, but for him to reject their money would have sent a signal to them that Donald Trump may not want to be affiliated with them. The reason he can't bring himself to condemn the actions yesterday, he could not bring himself to condemn the actions of what's the boy name? Kyle Rittenhouse. That he actually, not only did he not condemn it, he actually justified it and gave him a defense. And the reason is because he knows that those are his people. And so if there's any question at this point, there should be no question. Anyone who denies it is being intentionally obtuse, or they are themselves a part of these alliances of racists, of white supremacists, of Nazis, of far-wing, right-wing militias who have a deeply seated hatred, not only for black people, but for anyone who is not exactly like them, anyone who's not pure like them. Donald Trump and Stephen Miller, his top advisor, they have been sleeping in the same racist bed as these fascists all of this time, and they will never reject it, even when it's something as simple as rejecting their money when you don't need their money. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's absolutely the easiest test to reject money from people that you don't want to be in league with. And so by knowingly accepting these dollars, he is sending a signal to them saying, I am on your side. And he fully expects the media to do what it always does. And that is to be like, well, is he actually a racist? Or is this racist adjacent? Is this racially coded language? You know, right? So we debate it on our side of the equation, when they, on their side of the equation, fully accept Donald Trump as one of theirs. He emboldens them. He encourages them. He is their leader. He is their savior. And they know it very clearly. And the only people who aren't clear about it is like the mainstream media, who's still trying to figure out whether or not they should print the word racist while he's doing all of these clearly racist things.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and get twice the content and unfiltered interviews without any of the commercial interruptions.
And here we go. At this point in every single episode, I'd like to take a minute to thank the people who make the show possible, our patrons. Very special welcome to Aaron David Ross. Thank you for becoming a patron. Allison, thank you for becoming a patron. Jesse Jordan Gay, thank you so much for becoming a patron. Wait a minute now. Bounce. Very special welcome to Suku Similane. Now, I'm pretty sure I massacred that last name, but still, thank you so much for becoming a patron. You too can become a part of this prestigious and prodigious patron family by going to patreon.com/the BPD show, where you get twice the content, uncut, unfiltered interviews, none of the commercial interruptions, and you give me the ability to speak truth and power into the powerless, whether the powerful like it or not. Did you hear what I said?
Welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Show. Visit us online at thebenjamindixonshow.com.
Welcome back. If you want to hear of a nightmare scenario, I have a nightmare scenario for you. This is just coming out this afternoon. A Democratic pollster predicts a huge Trump win on election night, but says Biden will end up winning within a week. Here's some of the key takeaways. We are sounding an alarm and saying that it is a very real possibility that the data is going to show on election night an incredible victory for Donald Trump. One scenario modeled by Mendelssohn's polling firm even shows Donald Trump prevailing in the Electoral College on election night, winning 408 electoral votes compared to just 130 for Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. The model shows Biden winning California, New York, Colorado, Oregon, and the state of Washington. That scenario accounts for the idea that just 15% of mail-in ballots will be counted by election night. In that event, the model suggests Biden could prevail days later if counting goes smoothly by 334 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 204. When every legitimate vote is tallied, and when we get to that final day, which will be some day after election day, it will in fact show that what happened on election night was exactly that, a mirage. It looked like Donald Trump was in the lead, and he fundamentally was not when every ballot gets counted. This, my friends, is a nightmare scenario. Not only because it will give Donald Trump a full week of declaring that he was the winner, and not only will it give the media, who is feckless in handling these complicated and nuanced conversations, right? They are going to go along with it to some degree. They're going to go along with the Schadenfreude. But the nightmare scenario is that once the votes are actually counted and it shows that Joe Biden has won, don't you think for one second that Donald Trump supporters would not burn this country to the ground? You think you've seen violent protests? Wait till these white supremacists and racists and Karens and people who are foaming at the mouth because they want to be able to slam you on social media and talk bad about you and attack you because you supported Joe Biden or because you opposed Donald Trump, which are two totally different things. They want more than anything else to be able to rub it in your face. And you mean to tell me that after a week of them rubbing it in your face and the mail-in ballots are finally counted and the media has been giving Donald Trump all of this voice for an entire week where he's been declaring himself a victor and then like not only just a victorious, but like a huge win, a 408 electoral vote win? That is going to rip this country apart. And the only thing that we can do about it is prepare for it now. Say it everywhere. Get this word out. Patrons, stay tuned. Everyone else, thank you so much for being a beautiful audience. Patreon.com/the BPD show, or I'll see you tomorrow.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/the BPD show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.